would like to give you the opportunity to share your experience, your paper, based in Iran experience, and times and floor is yours.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Dear brothers and sisters and respected scholars all over the world, particularly from Indonesia, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very delighted to be a part of this outstanding and great conference in Indonesia. Let me thank in the very beginning my very friend and very great scholar, Dr. Shirazi, who provided me this opportunity to be in Indonesia online. Actually, I experienced being in Indonesia many times, this great country, and actually, as I'm involved with the Indonesian academics, and I invited more than 5 delegations from Indonesia to our university to present their ideas regarding Islamic studies in our university. So I'm very familiar with the Indonesian academicians and scholars, and that is very surprising to me that this country is pioneer in the field of Islamic studies. That is a very important point, and I think I have to thank the Ministry of the Religious Affairs of the Indonesia and many other universities who are working in Islamic studies hard and leading. That is very appreciated. So let me benefit of the time and move to the paper of mine, which is the title of my paper is The Necessity of the Change of the Educating Islam and Islamic Teachings from theological teachings to the human needs. In the production of my paper, I want to say that the Islamic teaching today, from east to west, whether to be in academic centers like universities or in traditional centers like the madrasa, whether among the Shias and Sunnis, Hanafis or Jafaris or Malikis or Shafis or Sufis, we see that the method of teaching and the manner of studying of the Islamic theology is mainly focused on the theological teachings. For example, to understand one idea of the theology, for example, the attributes of God, to understand this, or to know that what Asharites said about this issue, or what Mutazilites are saying this. Just this theological debate are studied. But today, it seems that we are very in need of to change this methodology. Otherwise, Islamic theology would be isolated from the need of human being, and it won't be welcomed by the new generation to study it. If we want a new generation to study Islamic teachings and to be involved and encouraged to these kind of studies, we have to change our method of teaching. The method of teaching, I would like to propose it to you and to suggest my idea is that we have to change the method of teaching and method of Islamic studies from theological debate to, let's say, human need-based. Our teaching should be moved to the based on the human need. For example, in the West, in the very outstanding university of the world, today we have the discipline of the peace theology. Today, theology is going to study about the peace. And theology is producing its capacity, how to expand the peace in the world, whether peace inside the human being or intra and inter-human being, between two countries or wherever, peace in the world regarding to the environment, peace regarding to the animals and anything else. So, peace studies today is in very need of the theology. That's why today we have the peace theology. And you are aware that the Mennonites in Canada, they are leading scholar in this field. Sorry. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, you see, I hope I can get the record of this lecture later.
Will be
because
on
the
YouTube.
Iranian State TV asked me to share this session, full video in the Iranian State TV. I would appreciate.
Yes, sure. Will be on YouTube. You'll find it right away after the session is finished.
Okay. So, the important point here is that we see, for example, today, theology today is talking about the peace, which is one of the very need of human being today in the world. Or where we have, for example, the environmental theology. You would see that today, theology is talking about the environment. Or very recently, I was studying a very good book, and it was about the disability theology. What is the approach of theology to the disables? Is theology, does theology believe that disabled are non-gifted from the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Are they created in different way? Why they are created in different way? And how theology can give a new, inspiring, and meaning of life to the human being? How it is possible? So what is the capacity of the theology toward this? And you, dear great scholars, you are aware that how great teaching we have in Islamic theology regarding to the shurur and disability and evils in the life. Shall we say that disables are evil? Or we have to change our mind and would say that they are gifted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have to change our mind. What is the view of the theology toward these kind of the human need in contemporary world? So, you see that the theology today not only is talking about the dogmas of the and teachings of the theological dogmas and theological teachings, but also today theology is very engaged with the need of the human being. One of the very important thing today we see, for example, philosophy. Today even in the West, we have political theology. Theology is very engaged with the politics. And theology is common to inspire the teaching and God and justice and peace within the realm of the politics. So politics is today, even in the secular world, not in Islamic states, they are in need of the theology. So whether to be secular world or the Islamic state, the politics is in need of theology to improve its approach to the justice, peace, and everything else. So here we understand that. That's why from 2003, the political theology is one of the very important disciplines in the Western universities. So, very important, the core of my lecture and the gist of my lecture is that Islamic study and Islamic theology today is suffering from many aspects. One of them is that some says that what is the use of that? Is it only to be the Islamic professor at university or Islamic researcher in the academic in the academic centers, or to be imam of the center? It seems that the outcome of studying Islamic studies is more than this. But we have to change the method of teaching and studying in this field. We have to change the method of educating in this field. And that is, we have to change Islamic studies, Islamic education from theological dogma-based toward the need of the humanity. Recently, I was reading a book. It is philosophical therapy. Philosophical therapy, it was amazing for me how philosophy is coming to the therapy, because philosophy is very theoretical debates. How philosophy, for example, philosophy is talking about the existence. How philosophy comes to the need of humanity. But when I studied this, I witnessed that today in the West, they are saying that some of the diseases of human being are solved by the physical drugs, by physical
excuse
therapies.
me, Professor,
And
just a
some
reminder,
would-
maybe 5 minutes more, please. Thank you.
Yes, sure. And some would be solved by the psychological therapy. But some of the diseases of the human being won't be solved without relying to the philosophy. So today, theology and philosophy, Islamic studies should change their method of studying and educating and teaching from, let's say, theological dogma based to the Islam, to the human being need. That's why one of the I had in my paper the background of this study. One of the problem, it seems here, that the theological study of Islam is not rooted based on the teaching of the Prophet of Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is mainly the method, the format. Let's care about it, not the content. I'm not talking about the content. Content is from Islamic teaching, Quran and the tradition, hadiths. But the format of this theological debate, it seems that it is borrowed from the Christian theology. And Christian theology is, the format of the Christian theology is inhabitant and customized based on the atmosphere of the Christian theology. And Islamic theology is in need of the format and methodology based on the atmosphere and the era of the Islamic, let's say Islamic. We have to know that it is the end of my paper. We have to know that Prophet said about Salah, Zakat, Hajj, Ma'ad, everything. But how Prophet said these topics, how the method of preaching this is very important. Mostly we have to know that in the very beginning of Islam, Prophet, he had 3 Muslim in the beginning of Islam, very rare, handful people in the very beginning of Islam, but just only during 23 years of preaching Islam, he made Muslim more than 200 Muslims. How is this possible in this limited time? And without having any media, social medias and other things, he made Muslims and very brave and very devoted Muslim. How? First, the content was important. The message was inspiring to the human being. And second, the method of teaching. If we look to the method of teaching, we see that in which year Prophet was talking about Hajj and in which year Prophet was talking about Zakah. It has the process, and all was gifted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is ever of the need of the humanity. So if we are talking about Islam, we are talking from the topics of Islam. We have to know that how the method of preaching, customize this method from Prophet teaching as well. So when we are talking about the teaching of Islam from Prophet, we have to learn how to preach these teachings, and we have to learn it from Prophet as well. We have to know the topics from Prophet, also the method from Prophet as well. So if we go there, we understand that the method of teaching of the Prophet was only based on the need of the humanity. How he was preaching in Mecca and how he changed the method of preaching in Medina, because it was based on the need of the humanity. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be from Iran, early morning from Iran in your conference. Actually, I learned from the scholars. They're very inspiring and full knowledge of their papers. Thank you for the opportunity. Again, I would like to thank all who were in charge of this conference. We hope there was no COVID to be by presence in Indonesia to present my paper. Again, I would like to thank Dr. Shiruzi for the opportunity, and the coordinator of the conference, and also the Ministry of the Religious Affairs of the Indonesia. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Professor Yahya Jahanghiri. Yes, you've been to Indonesia many times, and Dr. Muhammad Shirozi is here. So, yes, he is listening to your presentation as well. And hopefully the COVID-19's, disappears soon, and we get better environments, and so that we can have you all speaking in Indonesia, in Solo here, or in other parts of Indonesia next time, maybe next year, inshallah.
Dear Professor,
since we are
Professor, from now, I do invite you and the scholars next year. The same topic, we can have it in Tehran, and we are very ready to host you here in Tehran.
Thank you so much. This is a great invitation, great call, for us, for all of us, and inshallah we'll make it with the izni from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen, inshallah. Well, since we are running out of time, we started later, and now we are about to reach 2:30. And actually, there is a question from audience here, but I think I should continue to have a response from Professor Halis